Good afternoon, and welcome to the DFS YouTube channel. I'm Razzle, and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. Here to take a look at some pitching for today, the 10th of August. It is Monday, and we do have a 10-game main slate ahead of us this evening. I don't believe we have anything weather-wise to be super afraid of. Some minor threats in Atlanta and Minnesota, but we should be okay. A reminder that this is a first look at the pitching options on the slate, and I am looking at DraftKings as that is where a majority of my action is. If you play in FanDuel, cut my pool in half or so. Pricing isn't quite as tight. You don't have to be as creative. It allows you to get stacks you want with an upper tier-ish pitcher. Now let's just jump right in. Boston, Toronto. Jameson Taillon and his home run issues against one of the hottest offenses in baseball. I'm going to pass on Taillon. Sonny Gray coming off of a near 30 spot. Definitely somebody I'm interested in. Toronto did get to him here. Was that about 2.5 weeks ago, roughly? I think there's a little bit of bounce back spot for him. Just that Toronto offense is just so weak overall. He put up like 13-ish fantasy points the first time he faced them as well. Whenever that one was, here it was at home. 2 home runs in that were an issue. Obviously, the big thing is 7 strikeouts in just those 2 games combined. There's a bit of a worry there. He's a little worse on the road as well, but still, the Toronto lineup, especially if Springer manages to sit out yet again, that would weaken it even more. But I think Sonny Gray just has to be used based on the lineup that Toronto's running out there. Mets and Braves. You get Bryce Elder. I'm not getting to Bryce Elder. I have played him a few times. I actually really like the Mets in this spot. The Mets did crush him in the first meeting. He is better when pitching at home, which is where he's obviously pitching this evening. Just all of his numbers are just much better when pitching at home. So, I understand if you want to go there. I'm choosing to pass on him, but he is definitely somebody that should be in consideration, given some of the other options that we are going to consider using later on in the slate. Speaking of other options, you get Christian Scott, essentially 22 plus fantasy points in 2 out of his last 4 starts. One of those came against this Atlanta squad. He has made 2 starts against them, put up like 13 the first time. Pitching in Atlanta wasn't the sharpest. The walks were an issue, but 7 strikeouts in each of his 2 starts against them. I realize Atlanta's been a little bit hotter. They do have a more potent offense than the Mets do, but I think Christian Scott offers a lot more upside than Elder does, and that's kind of what I'm looking at for large field GPP options. I'm not necessarily, begging for safety out of my starting pitching. Baltimore and the Twins. I think both pitchers are in play. Trevor Rogers definitely been better. 20 plus in 3 out of his last 4 starts. The first couple weeks were good, but then that stretch for 2 months was really bad. Now he's kind of turned it around. 2 starts ago was pretty rough. Bounced back last one. Unfortunately it was against the Angels. The overall Twins lineup is weaker against left-handed pitching. They do have a couple guys that are dangerous, but still, without Buxton, that still does make that lineup a little weaker. There is some upside to them. They don't strike out as much as you'd think, though. So obviously some worry with all the balls in play. Dean Kramer on the other side making his 2nd start with the Twins, taking on his former squad. This former squad does provide some K upside for him, and I'm kind of interested to see what he does against them, so I am going to use some Dean Kramer. We have been using some pitching against Baltimore. I think we just continue it. I don't need to get too heavy on him. Not sure what his current projected ownership is at this point, but just going with like 10 to 12% probably feels all right. Probably shouldn't get yourself into too much trouble going with that amount. As I was talking, I brought it up on my other screen, and it looks like he's about projected at just under 9% ownership. So, 10 to 12, 10 to 14%, you get a little bit overweight, but you're not overexposing yourself. Philly, St. Louis, I'm not getting to either pitcher. Dobbins hasn't been terrible. He just doesn't have a ton of K upside. There is K upside in the matchup, but 3 home runs in his last 2 starts. Not the best trend coming into a start against a team that needs some home runs to be hit for them to go off. Pater on the other side, second start back. First one we went 82 pitches. Second one just 63 pitches. I'm not getting there. Like, St. Louis just doesn't really strike out. I just don't think there's enough upside. I kind of like the St. Louis bats this evening. Texas and the Angels, the most interesting pitching matchup on the slate. You get 2 pitchers that are basically the Spider-Man meme, right? Like the looking in the mirror version. 2 left-handed pitchers with a ton of upside and a lot of volatility. Detmers has allowed 5 home runs over his last 3 starts, but he also has 20 strikeouts in, 14 and a third innings. Kind of sitting in the mid-80s for pitch count after going over 100 a little over a month ago. Not sure if that's intentional or what, but we'll need to pay attention to that, obviously. But has one absolutely spectacular start against Texas and one not great one. It's not great one, 5 runs and 3 home runs allowed in 4 innings. But then his first one was 43.4. Struck out for his best start on the season. His only double-digit strikeout performance, 14 Ks with a solo home run allowed. It does mean he's given up 4 home runs to them on the season in 12 innings, so that's a little bit of a worry, but just a ton of upside. I like him a little bit more than Mackenzie Gore. Some of that is because Gore is not the same type of pitcher when he's on the road, and that's where he's at this evening. His numbers just take a hit on the road. 2 starts against the Angels, 29 total DK points against them. So that means he had 5 and then 24 or almost 25 against them. 23.75 against them the time before that. So he's certainly capable. And that one was in LA where they're pitching tonight. So yeah, he's going to throw more pitches than Detmers, I think, unless the Angels allow Detmers to creep back up to the 100 pitch mark. But I don't know if he has the same K upside as Detmers. They're very similar pitchers, obviously. That's why I led with the Spider-Man meme thought. But both guys that I definitely want to get exposure to. It'll be easier to get overweight on Detmers. Right now it looks like Mackenzie Gore's the chalkiest pitcher on the slate. Colorado, Arizona. Gabriel Hughes hasn't been terrible, but he's not anything special. Arizona just doesn't strike out a whole lot, so it's an easy pass for me. Soroka on the other side is somebody that I kind of want to use. He went for 24 and then 12.5 against them, but just 3 runs allowed in 11 2/3. Problem I have is he only threw 57 pitches in his lone rehab start. Out for over a month and a half, and he throws just 1 rehab start. So, we're likely looking at 70 pitches, maybe 75. It really depends on how soft or easy they're gonna take it on him. But I don't really love the idea of getting 70 pitches from him. Maybe I'll be wrong, but traditionally they increase start around 15 pitches. So I'm going to end up passing on Soroka, but I really do actually want to play him. Tampa Bay and the A's. You get Freddie Peralta, who I'm just not using in this ballpark. I know we've been picking on the A's with pitching, but Freddie Peralta looks lost. I am going to pass, and if he has his best start of the season, so be it. As high as 22.7 DK points. He's only been over 19 3 times on the season, so I feel okay passing on Freddie Peralta. Jacob Lopez is the intriguing one. I said it last time he was on the slate, and he went out against Cincinnati. Struck out 9. Struck out like 7 in 3 innings or something. I mean, he was on it early. Problem is Tampa Bay doesn't strike out that much, like an 18% K rate against left-handed pitching. But on the other side of things, they are easily the softest swinging team against left-handed pitching on the road. I think they have a team ISO of 102. on the road against left-handed pitching. So that's a number I looked into. Like, if he has the ability to kind of avoid J-Cam and maybe Vlade and Yandy, there's a route for him to be a GPP winning pitcher. The problem is I don't know how much upside he offers because of the lack of K upside by Tampa Bay. So I think he's somebody I'm just going to sprinkle in and hope that I kind of get it right. But I don't really want to be overexposed, 5-6% maybe. Milwaukee, San Diego. Mize looked atrocious in his debut with San Diego. Prior to that, he was decent, but he wasn't showing a big upside. He did have the big upside game against the Yankees. I'm not going to get there. He did shut down Milwaukee. Was that earlier in the season? Yeah, mid-April. I'm not going to get there. I get that Milwaukee's probably better to be attacked when they're on the road, but I'd still prefer left-handed pitching, so I am going to pass on Mize. Logan Henderson's somebody I'm going to utilize just because he's so good. Now, he hasn't shown an extreme ceiling at the major league level this year, but super consistent. Between 23 and 28 fantasy points in, 5 of his last 7 starts at the major league level. He has made 5 starts since returning to the majors. 2 runs or fewer in 4 of the 5. Home runs can be an issue. Now, it's a slight word, but this ballpark is better for pitching. It might help limit some of the home runs. I'm gladly going to use Logan Henderson. Houston and San Francisco this evening. Now, obviously, this is a ballpark I love taking pitching in. I'm going to debate Hayden Wesneski. I just don't know if I'm going to get there. He's looked better last start, but he's been at 79 and 78 pitches in both starts. Probably somewhat of a cap of around 80 pitches. He doesn't have a ton of K upside. So it's just a matter of we think we can get some clean innings out of him in this ballpark since home runs are an issue. Are an issue for hitters in that ballpark. I'm going to guess I'm not going to end up with Wesneski, but I don't think it's a slam dunk pass on him. Blade Tidwell, former Mets prospect. Really solid start last time out against Texas. Still only put up 9 fantasy points, despite giving up just 2 runs. That's the issue. I just don't know if he has enough upside for us. Right now I'm seeing him owned 11%. I have to believe that's going to drop. If it doesn't, I will gladly pass on Tidwell, even though it is a ballpark I love for pitching. Last game of the slate, Kansas City versus LA. Now you get an ice-cold LA Dodger offense versus a scorching hot Noah Cameron pitching. 23 innings over his last 3 starts. 24 strikeouts. 1 run allowed on just 6 hits. 6 hits in 23 innings. He's absolutely locked in. 2 of those starts were against Minnesota. Back-to-back starts, and he dominated them. The other one was against Detroit. Detroit can struggle against left-handed pitching as well. He's been phenomenal on the road. I think I am actually going to play some Noah Cameron tonight and take my chances. Left-handed pitching against the Dodgers can be the one that gives them a little bit of a trouble, or a little bit fits. So I'm going to sprinkle in some Noah Cameron. Right now we're projecting about 8%. You can get 12% and feel okay about it. On the other side, you get Skubal. First start with the Dodgers, just 18 fantasy points, just 2 earned runs in 6 innings, just 6 strikeouts. His last start against Kansas City, nearly a 40 spot with 12 strikeouts. So he does have a ton of upside. Did dominate Kansas City. He's very familiar with them. So I'm going to gladly use Skubal. He's going to be my number 1 over Logan Henderson. It's going to be close, but I just like Skubal's upside. But there we have it. There's our first look at the pitching on the slate. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell, and get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. If you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc., there will be a link in the description below. You can use promo code BOOK, B-O-O-K. That'll get you 20% off any membership on the website. There's a link to our merch store. You can check out my hoodie, some of the other designs we have going on. Hit the comments. Let me know who your number 1 is. Is it Skubal? Is it Henderson? Is it somebody else? Who are you going with, Detmers or Gore? And what's your stance on a guy like Sonny Gray against Toronto? Best of luck, everybody.